Hello, welcome back. Today we're talking about what is a stock. So we can go a quick explanation of what is a stock, how it gets its value, and how you get a hold of one. A stock is a portion of a business. So you own some portion of the business by buying a stock or a share, which is a share of the company. So they kind of use stock, share, kind of simultaneously, kind of one or the other. So what do you get by having a part ownership of the company? Of course, you're entitled part of the profits of the company because now you are part owners. If I buy a share in Ford Motor Company, I own a portion of Ford. Granted, it's a very small portion of the company I own, but I own part of the company. Aside from the portion of the profits of the company, this is kind of where the dividends come into. Dividend is a regular payment that a company may pay out, whether it be quarterly, monthly. For the most part, it is quarterly. If they offer one, but not, don't have to pay a dividend. But even if they don't, um, is they're not obligated to do it. So keep that in mind. This also grants you certain voting rights to the company. So you get a vote on the board of directors. So as a shareholder or a stockholder of the company, I get for the board of directors. Those board of directors in then return get to vote the CEO, the CFO of the company, the executive board, which have a very big sway on the direction of the company. And there's some other votes you may get on, be able to make as time goes by. Depends on the company, they'll announce these, but you have a say what happens in the company. So as you buy more shares, the more power you have within the company. So that is a little interesting fact that some people may not realize. And if you don't exercise these voting rights, the it now falls on to the company that you have your shares with to vote on your behalf. So if you have a Charles Schwab account, Robinhood account, if you don't vote for those, they could vote on your behalf. Some difference between stocks is there's not always one type of share. You have a common stock and a preferred stock. They work pretty much identical in most ways, except for a handful of differences. Both of them grant you some sort of ownership to the company, a portion of its profits, as well as dividends if you have one of those kind of companies. Common stock is a lot more common, as it says. This is kind of the default of how people and corporations issue stock. It's very easy to buy and sell these. So there's tons of these shares out there, hundreds of thousands, millions, etc. Just massive amounts. So it's easy to buy and sell for the most part. And common stock gets you voting rights. When it comes to preferred stocks, you don't have any voting rights. But because of that, you have get paid dividends before the common stockholders. Um, if the company were to go bankrupt, for example, now they have first dibs on whatever's left over. So if a company goes bankrupt and they have to sell all of their assets, well, people who get paid first are the people who gave them loans. So any companies they may own um, loans to, then it's the preferred stockholders will get paid next. And then if there's still money left over, it'll get to the common stockholders. And there's no guarantee you even get past the first portion of the lenders that they may owe to. And because these are a lot rarer of a stock, there's typically not as many shares of preferred stocks for a company. So it may be a lot more difficult to buy and sell some of these stocks as you buy them. So when you buy them, you may have to hold them for a while. Or if you want to sell them, you may be at the mercy of the market of what you can sell it for. Every stock has something called a ticker symbol. So it's basically an easy way to identify a company when you go look up their stock price. So instead of typing the word Ford out, you can type in F and it'll pop up Ford Motor Company. Boeing, instead of writing out Boeing, it's a BA, it'll pull up Boeing. Carnival Corporation, instead of typing all of that out, it's CCL. So they make it pretty simple to find. Every stock has one of these, and it's a unique way to identify companies, especially if you say a name of a company. There's some that are very similar in sound. So like you have Cisco, and maybe pronounce them a little bit differently. But one is a IT company, and there's one's actually a meat company. It helps avoid that confusion as well. Also, you could buy all of these stocks on some kind of stock exchange. That's where all most of these are listed at, and most people just know it as it's through their brokerage account. So Robinhood, Charles Schwab, something along the line along the lines of that. Our next time, we'll go over valuations. There's many different ways of how to evaluate what a company is worth, but here's are the two most simplistic methods without getting too complex. I want this to be a brief overview. So the first one is price to book. This is the price of a share of that company divided by its book value of that share. And you divide those two together and see what the company is worth. If I have a price to book value of 2, what this means is I'm paying double what the company is worth. So if I were to sell all the assets, I would pay $2 for every $1 the company is actually worth. So typically lower the number is most of the time better, because if I do that math and it comes out to 10, which means I'm paying $10 for every $1 the company is worth. When you get below the value of 1, though, however, this could be seen as, hey, I'm paying 50 cents for every dollar that this company is worth. So this could mean, hey, I'm buying a very good value. And if the company were to go bankrupt and sell everything today, liquidate, actually can make money off of this. Another way to think about it is saying, hey, this company is so outdated, there's no way it can actually compete, and it's not worth the money that what it says it is actually on paper. But you want to make sure on any of these valuations is you compare it to a company that in a similar industry, because different industries are going to have different valuations, what is normal for a company and what versus what's not normal. So, for example, you don't want to be comparing Tesla to General Mills, so a car company to a cereal company. There's two different industries. They have different ways of running their businesses, so don't compare apples to oranges. Make sure you're comparing to, maybe if I'm doing General Mills, maybe I'm comparing that to Kellogg. If I'm doing Tesla, maybe I'm comparing that to Ford, GM, Rivian, something along the lines of that. All right, the last one I'm going to go over is price to earnings ratio. What this will tell you is for how much money I pay, how much will that company earn for every dollar I invest in it. So if I pay a company that's a PE ratio of 10, that's basically saying I pay $10 for each dollar that company earns. So there's another way of looking at it and evaluating a company. If I compare that to a company that says, hey, has a ratio of 5, I may invest $5 in that company, and that company will make $1 of earnings back. So you can compare the two and say, hey, I like investing $5 and the company earning $1 versus having to invest $10 and the company earning only $1. So this could be one way to look at a company, but it's not the only factor, because it could be a reason why company A and company B have different earnings ratio. Maybe one has better growth potential. There's a lot of other variables to throw in there as well. So I'll see y'all next time with more information, and we'll keep learning and growing together. You have a good day.